love to play first. Huh. These are the hands you get with decks like this. This hand's a little bit. If only we knew what our opponent tends to play. I want to try Hex. Thoughts on getting started coming from Magic. You want to check out this article looking into Hex. This talks about some of the rules of the game and explains how some of the events that they run work. So, according to MTG Goldfish, my opponent generally plays Miracles, so I'm going to keep this hand. I think this hand's a fine keep against a control deck. It's pretty bad if my opponent's not playing a fair deck, but I think this hand is fine against a fair deck. Goldfish is often right. Volcanic Island. Don't play a Preordain. Don't play a Preordain. Don't play a Preordain. It's a Ponder. Okay, could be Miracles still. Could be something unfair, though. Preordain generally indicates something unfair, so that's why I would like to prefer to not see a Preordain. I think this deck in general has fine matchups against the unfair decks, but this hand is not great against an unfair deck. Alright, we're dead. Got it. Get it? Got it. Good. Sure. Lotus Petal means unfair. Morning and Claire. That was a phenomenal draw. Scrubland. Sneak and Show, maybe? Could be Storm, too. Either of those decks have Lotus Petals and Volks and Ponders. Alright, let's find out what their dirty little secret is here. Looks like Show and Tell. I already have a Deadguy L deck, actually. Hold on just a second, I am updating my deck lists on my tapped out page, so that way when people ask where it's at, I'm not a liar. Alright, so what do we got over here? Preordain, Brainstorm, Lotus Petal, a couple of Ancient Tombs, so I think we're just supposed to take the Brainstorm here. We're not in a good spot by any means, so just gotta hope they brick for a little while, I guess. New internet is working wonderfully. You just drew it off the top? Oh, I guess that's fair. They can't trip last turn, right? Please be an Emrakul. 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 Damn it! That's really tilting. Because, like, if they would have hit an Emrakul, we could have just Council's Judgmented it. I mean, I guess we'll make sure they draw the Force of Will. But, tilt. Council's Judgment lets you vote, so it gets around protection from colored spells. Yep, we play Hex on Wednesdays. That would do. Alright, well, let's Thoughtseize first here. See what you got. Droop Lion with the $4.99 resubscription. Thank you very much. I appreciate the continued support. Welcome back. Take the Flusterstorm away. And then, learn to draw Force of Will or another Flusterstorm will be sad. But, you know, it is what it is what it is. Cast Council's Judgment. Yep. Hey! The Judginator with the brand new Twitch Prime subscription. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. Welcome. Okie doke. Well, we gave it the old college try. Yes, I think this matchup's okay for us. We get to bring in Duress, Surgical Extraction, Thalia. Gaddock Teeg's okay. It's not amazing, but it's fine. Council's Judgment gets rid of his enchantment. Deluge is pretty bad. I want to cut. I feel like I want all of these cards here. Collective Brutality is fine because it's a discard spell. Lingering Souls might be a little bit too slow. Maybe Plow is not good enough. We could bring in Council's Judgment to tags their creatures and whatever else not. More Legacy content. Yeah, Legacy's my favorite format in Magic right now for sure. 10 out of 10. Been enjoying playing Legacy. Oh, Gideon of the Trials isn't particularly good against this combo deck. This is good against, like, Storm, Index or Training Deck or Life Total. I think Kaya's okay. She makes them discard cards, which is, like, good, like, curving, like, discard spell and Liliana into her is pretty reasonable. It's a little awkward with Teaglesworth, I guess. Is Teeg even good enough for this matchup? It's, like, an actual question, right? I guess he stops him from actually casting Sneak Attack and Force. That's probably fine. Does Secret Show bring in the Grim Lavamancer? They don't all have Grim Lavamancer, but yeah, they might. But I don't think we need Plow, because, like, I have Collective Brutality, and then these 8 to kill a Grim Lavamancer if they have, and I can also just, like, a Thoughtseize or Inquisition it away, potentially. Yeah, Sand's reasonable. It doesn't have a clock in it, but it's got some disruption. And, like, Liliana's pretty good. What you working with? Plays K-Return. Sometimes they play K-Return. Like, there's lots of different things that they sometimes play. Alright, so I think I'm just taking a Sneak Attack here. We brought in our copies of Surgical Extraction, so that means if we hit a Surgical, we can Surgical this other one out of their hand. Sometimes, yeah, there's like a bunch of different cards they could play. They all play slightly different hate cards, basically. Hey, speaking of Surgical Extraction, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the turd here. There's a little toggle button for it, basically, on the side. Lower right-hand corner, I believe. I really want to draw a third land here. That's unfortunate. Have Teeg and have our basic swamp here. Yep. Oh, punished. I wasn't thinking about the soul land. I wanted to wait until they cast Brainstorm and Surgical in response, so they would have had to pitch Show and Tell to force. But then they hit that, so now we have to hit a land or we're basically probably dead. Good beat. Yeah, that's Magic the Gathering sometimes. I made a small mistake there, but, like, the fact that we, like, kept a 2-lander on the play and got to, what, our turn 4 without drawing another land? You know, play some Ponders and Brainstorms. Look at that! Immediately remembered why we put Deadguy Ale down and started playing real Legacy cards. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday morning. That was great. Only took me 2 games of Magic to remind me why we stopped doing that. Hey! AY Gel 89 with the brand new $4.99 a month subscription. New subscription, not a subscription. Thank you very much. Welcome. I appreciate it. Yeah, like, you should play blue cards or you should do something obnoxious and degenerate, right? Like, there's a reason why I put this deck down. I was looking at it. We played Stoneforge Mystic yesterday. Like, I saw this in my deck list. I was looking at it. I was like, oh, this seems like okay positioned. Like, it seems reasonable against the fair decks. Oh, and then you keep 2 lands on the play and you brick and die. Feel bad. Norn and Jace. Yep. Yep. Like, there's a reason why, like, in the Legacy Challenge on Sunday, all 7 of the 5-1 or better deck lists were playing 4 Brainstorm, 4 Force of Will, and I think 6 of them were on 4 Deathrite Shaman as well. Like, they were all, 6 out of the 7 were, like, Grixis or Deathrite Shaman decks, and, like, the last one was a random what? It was a Miracles deck. Ah, we got 200 people hanging out already. Welcome, folks. Hope everyone's having a happy hump day. Hump day. And, like, really, like, you know, that miss our second land and brick, like, that's gonna happen even when you have cantrips in your deck too, right? Like, we play occasionally. It happens less often when you have some selection like Ponder and Brainstorm, but, like, yesterday, we kept a hand with, like, 1 land Brainstorm on the draw, and on our turn 2, we cast Brainstorm and missed our second land drop. So, like, we saw 5 extra cards in a 21 land deck and, like, didn't hit our second land on time, so shit happens. Force of Will is too beautiful for this world. Yeah, Force of Will is actually, so, like, the format is excessively fair online, it feels like, right now. Like, 30+% of the successful decks recently have been, like, fair Grixis type things. Deathrite Shaman, Splashing Mush. If we had, could you imagine how good this deck would be if Guidance was legal? And that's one of the things I really love about Hex, that they push cards like that into different shards, right? It's not just Sapphire that has card selection in that game. Like I said, I actually think the Stikacho matchup for this deck is pretty reasonable. And again, this is another thing that's great about Hex is you get to make educated mulliganing decisions in Hex Game 1 because of how the champion system works. So in Magic, you're at a strict disadvantage playing a mid-range deck like this regardless of the format. Whether it's Standard, Legacy, or Modern, sometimes you're going to look at your opening hand in Game 1 and go, this hand is only fine against X archetype. It's a reasonable keep. I don't know what my opponent's playing. I'm going to keep it because it's reasonable in some amount of my matches. And then, like, sometimes your opponent's, a lot of the time, actually, your opponent's, like, just not going to be playing the archetype that your hand is good against. So, like, you're losing a lot of Game 1s with these mid-range and fair control decks because your Game 1 hand isn't just lining up well and you don't get to make an educated decision before the first game starts. This deck's extremely cheap as far as a Legacy deck goes. These Scrublands are cheaper than these Liliana the Veils, just so. So, like, we understand that Magic's not expensive just because of the reserve list. Magic is expensive because Wizards of the Coast doesn't want to reprint Magic cards. Just, like, in case there's any delusions about that. That's why the reserve list still exists. It's not because WotC can't get rid of it. It's because they don't actually like reprinting Magic cards to make Eternal formats affordable. Because WotC wants you to play Standard. WotC doesn't want you to play Legacy and Modern. They want you to play Standard, because that's where they make all of their money. God. Man. It's no wonder I don't get spoiler cards. I'm so rude to them. Ah. Waiting to queue. Sounds like a WotC shill, right? I ain't here. I ain't gobbling nothing from WotC. WotC don't do nothing to support me. The only kindness WotC gives me is not banning my Magic Online account because while I spew the truth. WotC gave us Karn, and then Karn delivered us from evil. Man, are we not allowed to play Legacy on Wednesday mornings? There's like 6 minutes in the queue. So like whenever someone complains about the Hex queue, or like any of the other queues, it's like, well, you know, I've waited 10 minutes for a Legacy match before. What's the guidance card you're talking about? Alright, Hex card, GU. So in Hex, this is a 1-cost cantrip that Fate Weaves and then draws a card. And in Hex, what Fate Weave does, Fate Weave is kind of like, it uses the digital space nicely, so Fate Weave lets you, I can actually just show you what guidance is. Let's look at a picture. So, Fate Weave is a mechanic that says, you pick one, you either stack a random resource or a random non-resource on top of your deck. So basically, you pick, do I need to draw a land or do I need to draw a spell? And then this puts that on top of your deck and then you draw it. And it's not a blue card, which is nice. So, multiple cards. Multiple different shards get selections in Hex, which is just nice design. Everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday morning while we wait to queue in with Deadguy Ale. Yeah, Fate Weave is everything Scry wishes it could be. Yeah, and like, honestly, like, if they actually wanted to even support Legacy a little bit, there is no reason Legacy decks should cost $800 on Magic Online. Like, I get it if you want to push your standard format in paper, like you don't, like you want to, fine, you don't want to break the reserve list and whatever, but like, there's no reserve list on Magic Online, and Legacy is still astronomically expensive on Magic Online compared to the other formats, and there's no reason these digital cards that they could very easily print into the ground to like make their formats and their game accessible online shouldn't be that way. Like, there's no reason these Wastelands should be ridiculously expensive on Magic Online. There's no reason Force of Will should be ridiculously expensive on Magic Online. Like, it's silly and dumb. It's because they don't want people playing these formats. Yay, Magic. Yeah, sounds fine. Collective Brutality into a Council's Judgment. My opponent plays a Deathrite Shaman on one, we might escalate this. Basic, Swamp, pass. I think I'm just gonna Wasteland them. I've got a lot of lands, and that's one of the reasons to keep a little bit land heavy hand like this. This deck's got a few utility lands in it, so I think I'm just gonna waste them off of this. I don't own paper Magic cards. I can't justify having that much money tied up in in cards. Like, I owned Kiki Cord and then realized that it was like $300 sitting in a box that I was playing once or twice a year, so like I sold it because like I can't justify having that much money tied up. All right, probably a Stoneforge Mystic deck, but I guess if they play Stoneforge on 2, I could just Liliana and Edict it. I have a Plow 2 now. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use this Collective Brutality here. I'm gonna grab a basic Plains with this one, I think. Just in case they've got Blood Moon, some of these decks. No, that's not Blood Moon, just in case they have Wasteland. So, let's take a look at your hand, see what you got here. Man, if you've had Legacy decks since '98, you've made a killing if you sold recently. All this stuff is super expensive. Think about Temur Moon you played a couple years ago in the current format. Vidalcan Shackles is exceptionally bad, which was the reason why that style of deck was good. So, that deck existed in a world before Kolaghan's Command existed, and Kolaghan's Command makes it especially bad. Also, Tarmogoyf isn't very good. Playing a 2-mana 4/5 or 2-mana 5/6 isn't good when your opponents are playing 1-mana 9/9s. So, I would recommend against playing that deck. There's a reason why I didn't do it again. Didn't play it again. There's a reason why we put this down and haven't touched it. So this is a card's a little bit awkward against Brainstorm because often our opponent will only have 2 or 3 targets for this, so sometimes they can hide both their targets for it. Where does this deck get its name? I think I have a command for that. Yeah. Pretty sure there's a command for that. It's some old Legacy thing with Chris Pakula's team when they worked on this deck for Legacy Grand Prix way back in the day. I don't actually know all the details. Thought we had a command for it at some point. Looking like a Stoneforge Mystic deck. Sweet, we get to take... Oh, it's a Monastery Mentor deck. Okay. Yeah, this is fine, right? I'm gonna take... And they don't have a fetch land, so they're just gonna, like, keep all these crappy cards in their hand. Deal. So let's take this Hymn to Torok. They're pretty far away from casting that Hymn to Torok anyways, but the Plow is not gonna be particularly good. And if they, like, hid a black source... Alright, so they played a Swamp. Shambling Vent. Alright, so what am I doing here? I'm just putting this into play tapped. I might just be putting this into play tapped. I don't really want to play the Liliana because, like, I'm not super interested in discarding any of my cards right now. And even if I was, I think they'd end step the Snapcaster Mage, which isn't great for me. I'm not sure which I'm sadder for, your wallet or the fact that you're playing Ant. Alright, so they're not playing the Mentor out yet. Smart. They could have, like, Spell Pierce or something, too. Another Plow. So I'm gonna play this. Can I cast the Sword? What do you mean variety streams? Oh, you mean like Skyrim type stuff? Unsure. Unsure. I really don't want to trade one of my spells for one of their lands. Yeah, I'm just going to play this Sword of Feast and Famine out. I actually played some Skyrim off stream. I was remembering my guy, and I started playing again. I don't know that I'm going to stream those other games. They're not terribly popular, and, like, it's a lot of effort. Streaming's a lot of work. You got more chips? Is this a Jace, or do we just have Mentor into Cantrip? Might just have Mentor into Cantrip. So we're just going to plow this, and then if they counter it, we can untap and Liliana plus plow. Get rid of both their guys. This guy gives them a pooper every time they play something. So I wouldn't be too surprised they have like a Spell Pierce here. We have a Force, pitching Force. So we know that 2 of their 3 cards in their hand right now are Snapcaster Mage and Swords to Plowshares. Yep, you want some more to eat? I got it. I got it, little fat boy. There you go. I don't really have an interest in playing Hearthstone. Like, so, people, like, Hearthstone's the most popular game, but really Hearthstone is popular because it's a casual game. So, I'm not really interested in playing a casual game. Like, I play TCGs as a competitive outlet, and, like, I can't just join a Hearthstone tournament. Are they going to plow their own Monastery Mentor in response here? That would be kind of funny. I think they were thinking about it. I think that's what that tank was there. I think that was, I'm thinking about plowing my Monastery Mentor to get another token. Let's Edict you. No, I want to plow the Mentor in case they have a Spell Pierce. Wait, what? Okay. You're gonna snap hit me now? Sure. Okay. They have a tournament that I join in client, like I pay an entry fee, and then at the end of the day, they send me prizes that I can sell for money, or that they just send me a check. Like, that's how it works. Is that how it works? Because I feel like that's not how it works. Alright, so if they have plow... So they don't have Snapcaster. I know they have a plow. They probably have, like, plow plus land here. I'm going to get their land with the Liliana, but then the Snapcaster is going to clean up my Liliana. Oh, I get to exile their force. Well, they were going to lose the Force of Will anyways, I guess. Alright. It's a little annoying, but not the end of the world. We're both top decking, and I have a Shambling Vent and a Sword versus a Snapcaster Mage. Deal. But do those external tournaments pay me cash? And like that's still a lot of work, right? So like on top of jumping through the hoops of like having to try and buy a deck for Hearthstone, like I have to jump through hoops to actually play the tournament too. Like that sounds awful. Hey, Proxitron with the brand new Twitch Prime subscription. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. Welcome. Let's go ahead and try and equip this sword here. This is bad against the discard spell. Like I could have just gotten Umezawa's Jurgit here, but I think I'd rather have Batterskull as additional threat. So that way, like they have to answer this and they have to answer this. Yeah, it's fine. My favorite part about this is that you just get to auto pass. Like I don't have to bluff Force of Will. They are really small ones, but so I have to jump through hoops. It's a headache to play the tournament. It's a headache to join the tournament. It's a headache to buy the decks, and the prizes aren't that large. So like again, why would I want to do anything related to Hearthstone? That sounds fucking awful. All right, plow this. Hopefully we draw an untapped land here. All the lands left in our deck are untapped at this point. Yeah, so this weekend, we showed a Hex card earlier, for instance. This weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, there's a Hex tournament that I join in client. First place is $500 cash. There's cash money that they send you via PayPal or check to the top 4 competitors. And then there's in-game prizes that you can buy, sell, and trade to the top 32 players in the tournament past that. So it's like the top 4 places just get cold hard cash. The tournament's handled by everything in client, so like it's just fantastic as far as competitive games go. Is it an actual TCG? Did they announce a TCG or did they announce another cash grabbing CCG? So which, because they're not the same. Yeah, but like, so for instance, there's a lot of Magic players. Watch Kenji stream Hearthstone sometime, and look at how many people he has watching. The amount of money that people who aren't already ingrained in the client that make streaming Hearthstone, like the big people that make a lot of money streaming Hearthstone are the ones that have been there for forever, basically. Alright, so let's flash this back. No, but that's not satisfying the competitiveness. You just said it was a giant headache. So, like, the hassle isn't worth the reward. So it's not reasonable. It might have been right to trade one of these spirits with this. You drew a plow. That's annoying because I can't play my Batterskull this turn now. I'm going to play this Wasteland out. Yeah, I can't just... It's a giant pain. And like, that's like, for instance, what's the new one, Bethesda's, Elder Scrolls Legends? Like, Elder Scrolls Legends, I was like, hey, this looks kind of neat, I'm gonna play some Elder Scrolls Legends. And I was like, oh, I can't actually just buy a deck, I have to, and I was like, okay, if I want to, like, go through the CCG hoops, like, how much money do I have to invest to actually get a deck to play in these tournaments? They're like, you have to invest, like, $500 to get a deck. And I was like, alright, well, here's a big old can of nope. Big old glass of nope, not spending $500 on a CCG to play in tournaments that aren't even managed in client. Alright, so if they brick on a... Ooh, this is really good. This means we're going to get to equip this Sword of Feast and Famine and kill this Jace. I'll be right back. I'm going to go wipe the Dorito powder off my child's hands before he makes a mess all over my basement. But you yourself said the prizes weren't that much. The prizes, by definition, define competitiveness. Like, that's just, like, literally how it works. The definition of competitiveness, how competitive something is based on the prizes that you could obtain playing it. Alright, so... I'm not quite sure what my opponent's doing. I feel like these Toxic Deluges probably aren't very good. The removal in general is probably not great. Oh, I guess they have Monastery Mentor, right? We saw that. Huh. This Gideon's not great against Mentor or Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, the real tournaments in Hearthstone are like, it's not like Hex and Magic Online where like you could just buy a deck and pay an entry fee and play a tournament. Like that's not how it works. Alright, I've won 2 Magic Online Challenge events in the last month, and I made a little under $300 for each of those first place prizes. And there's no headache and hassle to actually play in that tournament. So like, again, Collective Brutality, this is almost never killing a Monastery Mentor. Is Liliana good enough? She's probably fine. She's a little awkward against Mentor, but grinds okay otherwise. Trim an Inquisition, maybe? I think I like this configuration. Yeah, this seems fine. This seems fine. Yeah, the big money tournaments for Hearthstone require an infinite amount of grinding, or they require a special invite because you're a known personality. So, like, again, just, like, inaccessible to most people. And, like, so part of the problem is, like, Wizards of the Coast is just, like, terrified to try new things, right? And I think the perfect example of Wizards of the Coast being terrified to try new things is that the fact that we still cut to top 8s for 3,000 player tournaments, like, that's so archaic. Like, the fact that our tournament structure for a 3,000 player tournament is identical to the 200 player tournament structure we started 2 decades ago, it feels like we could probably improve and expand on that. Yeah, but what do I have to do to join that tournament? How much money do I have to spend? Do I need 3 different decks? Do I need to, like, have enough currency or whatever for 3 different decks? And again, like, I have to, like, use Batterfly or something for pairing, something awkward like that. There's no tournament client in game. When do you get to scale prizes? Yep. And it isn't even just about the visuals on Hearthstone. It's that the gameplay on Hearthstone is very simple, so it's easier to convey that to people. And the fact that the gameplay is simple makes it easier for people to pick up, so that there's more people that are just familiar with it to watch it. Like, card games in general are pretty unwatchable if you don't understand what's going on. And games like Magic and Hex have complexity that's just, ooh, that's annoying. I'm just gonna be... I've said my piece, so they keep talking, so we're just gonna get them out of here. I brought in my extra Council's Judgment, right? So I got 3 ways to get rid of this. I might trim some more discard post-board. This is for, like, Storm? That's so weird. Wait. They kept Leyline Gitaxian Probe no land at 7? Okay, sure. I feel better about my one-lander, I guess. Alright. Our hand was a little speculative, but their hand is fucking awful, so, like... Watch them hit the lands before we do. God bless. There's almost certainly more lands in our deck than there are in theirs. We're playing 23 lands. Ding, Fraser done. Just keep bricking, bricking, bricking. Just keep bricking, MTG. Let's go, Dot Betty. Alright, let's play this Bob Fadant. This hopefully means we're going to run off some lands here. Ever, only the best in the competitive leagues. My hand was maybe a bad keep, but like I had 2 discard spells. We didn't know that we were gonna get ley lined. Like the rest of my hand was great. The old ley line, and like if they kept like 6 with a scry and a probe, I would probably keep their hand. But they kept 7 on the play with a probe. To each his or her own, I suppose. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. If we get a white source, the hand's pretty decent. I get to discard a Lingering Souls with a Collective Brutality on 2 if I don't hit a white source. Seems reasonable. Yeah, right, exactly. And like that's Elder Scrolls Legends, their tournament formats mimic Hearthstone. So that's why it costs $500 to play to get into Elder Scrolls Legends tournaments, because you have to build 3 competitive decks. You can't just build 1, you have to build 3. I'm just taking this Brainstorm, right? Think I'm just taking this Brainstorm? Am I supposed... The rest of their hand doesn't do anything if I take the Brainstorm, so I'm gonna do that. It's the best card in Legacy, you're always supposed to take it, right? If they only had 1 food chain, I'd snap the food chain, but they have multiple, so... Yeah, I'm just gonna cast this with 2 modes. So that way I can cast this Lingering Souls next turn. And take a Force Will out of their hand that may or may not be useful. Force Will's not particularly good in this matchup, but again, I just want to, like, discard this so I can... They drew a Brainstorm. Sure. Why not? This matchup's probably tough for us. We don't have a lot of meaningful interaction for this card. I have 2 Manipulate Fates. So I love casting a discard spell in 2 pair. So they're going to cast Manipulate Fate. For those unfamiliar, it lets them exile 3. So they'll get like 2 Mist Hollow Griffins and that other 3-drop that you can cast from exile. Ah, there's 4 basic swaps in our deck, right? I think there's 4. Ah, magic. It's already the Shadow Realm here. I had to cast that. Or almost certainly just did here. Yeah, they exiled Eternal Scourge and then 2 Mistala Griffins. Ooh. Ooh, basic planes. You don't say. Am I getting Umezawa's Jurgit here? I feel like I'm getting Umezawa's Jurgit. So they have infinite mana next turn? So I assume we're dead? You're not wrong. I mean, Brainstorm is the best card in Legacy for a reason. It's generally a good top deck. Yep. As you will, opponent. And, like, the worst part about this is I can't just be like, can you show me your win condition, and then I'll just concede? Because I don't know that they have a win condition in their head, so, like, I can't just pack it in here. I have to, like, make them cast this and re-click here. All I can do is auto-pass. I feel bad for them. They have to keep clicking on this and then clicking this 3 times. See, because, like, do they not have a win condition here? They might not have a win condition. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't actually have a. Huh. Alright, you know. Equip this to here. Pass the turn. Oh no, they drew a win condition? Damn it, Bobby. I think our equipment, like with the sword and the Batterskull, we were going to beat just their 9 power worth of poopers. But major walking ballista or something here? Or drew Emrakul or something? Storm count is 10. Storm count is 11. Yeah, must be walking ballista. Oh god, that means they need to get to 40 mana. Alright, for the sake of Magic Online, I'm just going to activate this and put this Batterskull in and pass the turn. Or auto-pass, let them do their thing. You do your opponent. While my opponent takes another 2 minutes to click through their combo, I'd just like to say good morning, afternoon, good night to everyone, wherever you're at in the world. Thanks for hanging out here with us. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I am a TCG player and content producer, and you've landed here at my Twitch page while we get auto-passed here by the, Food Chain deck. If you're enjoying what you see, please use that follow button. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps other people find my stuff. If you're really enjoying what you see, you want to help me produce more Legacy, Magic, and Hex content, you can do so in a couple different ways. The first is by subscribing on Twitch or becoming a patron on Patreon. You can also support my content by supporting my sponsors. MTGOtraders.com would love to buy and sell Magic Online cards with you. You can use code Hoagland PayPal at checkout there. You'll save 8% on all of your singles orders with them for Magic Online cards. CoolStuffInc.com buys and sells physical TCG cards, Pokemon, Magic, and even Yu-Gi-Oh! Like they were talking about in chat. You can use code Jeff5 to save 5% on your singles orders from them. InkedGaming.com can help you customize your gaming experience. You can use code Jeff12 there to save 12% on custom playmats and mouse pads and sleeves. And finally, SpareDeck.com offers kind of a unique service. They will rent you any physical, standard, or modern deck, so you are able to, you know, play decks with cards you don't own. I don't actually own that many physical Magic cards, so when I play modern or standard tournaments, I generally rent my stuff from them. At any rate, thanks everyone for watching. It looks like my opponent has finally clicked through and played their walking ballista here. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him pew 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 us down here. Pew pew pew. Pew pew pew. Pew 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 pew. You got this, opponent. Look at you go. Look at him go. I feel like I've let him click through this. So, one of the things about the food chain deck is that the food chain deck isn't good enough that you would play it if you didn't enjoy clicking through it on Magic Online. So, like, if my opponent doesn't like this, I assume they would just play a better Legacy deck. So I'm going to let them click through it, because I assume this is fun for them, right? Like, the clock equity's like, whatever. Let your opponent have their fun. Like, the food chain deck is nowhere near... Like when Splinter Twin was tier 1, sure, in a league, whatever, don't make them click through it, because, like, they're just playing Splinter Twin because it's tier 1. But, like, the opponent's deck is not particularly good. On average in the Legacy format. So, like, if they're playing it, they must enjoy playing it. So, like, let them have their fun. Let them have their fun. And for the record, the only part I could have skipped there, I had to make them make the mana, because, like, I don't know that they have a Walking Ballista. Like, they could have anything, and I could possibly beat it. Duress seems fine. It gets rid of that. Collective Brutality seems pretty mediocre. Do I want an extra Batterskull? Probably not. Kaya might be okay. Toxic Deluge is good against their backup plan if I can keep Food Chain off the table. And I've got, like, Council's Judgments and stuff, so I could probably keep Food Chain off the table. Yeah, Kaya is for, like, the fair decks, like the 4-color control and the Miracles decks. Just, like, she generates 2-for-1s. She, like, comes down and they discard a card, we draw a card. And none of these other cards really do anything. Like, the hate cards that we're playing, like Thalia and Gaddock Teeg, these bears aren't good. Rest in Peace isn't good. Surgical Extraction might be okay. Just, like, take all the food chains out of their deck after we discard them. It doesn't seem great. Getting the Trials is fine. He clocks them fairly quickly. I'm swell this morning. I am remembering why you don't play fair decks that don't involve blue cards in Legacy. You could just surgical the Misthallow Griffins. Yep, get rid of their combo piece. Oh, Magic's great. That's something. Well, we've been streaming for almost an hour this morning, and we streamed for 3 hours yesterday. We dropped a grand total of 0 frames during that time, so Fiber's wonderful. It's everything I wanted and so much more. Let's play this basic plains and pass the turn here. Plow a Deathrite Shaman on 1. No, there's plenty of unfair decks in Legacy that, like, are reasonable and don't involve blue cards. Like, Lands is a great combo deck. The Blackbird Reanimator deck is pretty reasonable. The Chalice Stompy decks are, like, okay, and a lot of those don't involve blue cards. Ponder, sure. I think we're supposed to play Sculler on 2. I actually really liked, I really liked this blue-white red Stoneblade deck we played yesterday. So I might play that some more. That deck seems very reasonable, and it's fair, it has blue cards, so, you know, probably fine. Chose not to shuffle. I'm going to play Dark Confidant now. My opponent can't play Food Chain until next turn, and there's a very real possibility that they hid the Food Chain on top of their deck with this Ponder. So I'm going to give him a chance to draw an extra card before we play our discard spell. I would also like to start generating card advantage with this dork. The fiber is cheaper than my previous provider. I'm getting 500 down and 100 up for less money than I was paying for 75 down and 25 up from Comcast. That was a rude opponent. They have Flusterstorm in their deck. Why do they have Flusterstorm in their deck? I'll take this Brainstorm? I'll take this Brainstorm. I understand why Flusterstorm could be in their 75. I don't understand why Flusterstorm is in their deck post-board against me. Yeah, wait until you see us lose a bunch, Foot. Having the old miss land drop, stumble and die. It's good beats, good beats. Depending on how long this league takes to lose, we might play some blue cards after this. Do enjoy me some blue cards in Legacy. They're scared of him to Torag? I guess that's fair. Kinda, Ian, but like, what am I doing on the combo turn that's like waiting for the combo card, right? Now we played 4 lands out in the first game. Chose not to shuffle. It's not good for us. It's fine. I didn't like the Stoneforge Mystic anyways. Joke's on you. And we're gonna fetch to thin, because our deck doesn't have any stuff. What's your question, NY? I'm not sure. Not sure I understand your question. I would like this Sword of Feast and Famine. I'd like to play this Sword of Feast and Famine. Yeah, but Swords to Plowshares doesn't interact with their combo. Right? It doesn't interact with Walking Ballista profitably. Alright, and we're dead. Like I said, this match is probably pretty terrible. We have cards in my board for like Gaddock Teeg's good against elves, but like none of the hate bears that this style of deck traditionally plays interact with what Food Chain's doing, so that's why Food Chain has good matchups against these creature-based decks like this. But like the deck I'm playing isn't very popular in Legacy, so 1D 4 days after, right? It's like the red amount of time. So that matchup's kind of bad. And then the first match we played, oh right, we played against Sneak and Show, and we kept a fair mid-range hand, and they were playing Sneak and Show, so we died. And then the second game, I timed a surgical poorly and died, which was unfortunate. I guess the first game we would have had a chance if they would have hit Emrakul instead of Gristlebrand. Like, they hit Gristlebrand and we had a Council's Judgment. So, like, we would have been able to Council's Judgment and Emrakul. Like, things just lined up poorly. And again, like, when you're playing the interactive deck, like, when your answers don't line up well against their threats, you're just gonna have a bad time. Declan, can you come here so I can whip your hands? I was muted. Thank you. I was in fact muted. I'll repeat myself that I talked while I was muted. Thoughtseize is fine against unfair decks. Gideon's good against some unfair decks. Hopefully our opponent's playing fair. Hand's got a Plow and a Deluge. Pretty good against the fair decks of the format. Some fetch lands. Hopefully our opponent doesn't kill us on the first turn of the game. Just legacy things. Hand's medium against Chalice of the Void. Hand's medium against Chalice of the Void. I have no idea. Not a clue. I'm getting Blood Moon now? Feels like I'm getting Blood Moon. God, Legacy's great. What a wonderful die roll to have lost. Could you imagine, like, we're on the play this game, we just, like, slaughter them, we get to, like, Thoughtseize them on 1 and, like, have Tidehollow Sculler on 2, and then, like, just, like, have spells that we could play even if we don't have Thoughtseizes. God. Let me tell you a story, fam. Don't register non-blue cards in Legacy. Don't do it. Everyone that's watching the stream with the hope of, like, wanting to play Deadguy, just don't. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. You're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time. Back up Blood Moon, sure. Ooh, woo, buddy. That's probably the game. Yeah, Blood Moon punishes greedy mana bases. Magic is fun. Magic is fun. Alright, so these can go. Duress is good. Teeg's good. Thalia's good. Council's Judgment is fine. Plow's actually okay in this matchup because they have things like Inferno Titan and Wormcoil Engine a lot of the time. Lingering Souls is slow. This Gideon is slow. It's actually 60. I don't think I want Surgical Extractions. Yeah, Big Red's great, right? Like, no, zero knocks on Big Red. Like, as far as obnoxious things go, I've got Big Red here. Big Red here in my Legacy deck list. Nah, not even. You haven't seen a Modern League. We play 5-match Modern Leagues in under an hour all the time. But you get to lose quicker, right? Exactly. I think after we finish losing this next game, we're going to borrow cards for a real Legacy deck. Just, what a fantastic week. Play Kiki Cord, get bodied. Play Tron. Oh, geez, we should Tron people, shouldn't we? I do like playing things that make me money after I hemorrhage a bunch of money. No, he's talking about Modern Tron. Yeah, Modern Tron. Modern Tron. Yeah, but 12 post is unplayable garbage in Legacy, and Tron's really good in Modern, so that's the difference, the tiers of them. No, part of my sponsorship agreement with MTGO Traders is they let me borrow Magic cards. I have a Tron list that I enjoy playing. I top 8'd, yeah, I'm just gonna keep this. That's fine, we'll draw a second land at some point, right? Watch them have, like, 2 turn 1 Blood Moons, and we'll just, like, weep silently here, but I have a basic land that I've Thoughtseizes, so let's do it. Yeah, but, like, this deck has, like, sweet cards that I like playing. Oh, this card's pretty terrible in this matchup, right? I should have boarded this out. It kills Revoker. It does kill this Revoker, doesn't it? You're not wrong. Matt, it's so weird coming back and playing decks like Deadguy Ale and like Kiki Chord after playing decks like Grixis Delver and Tron. You're just like, man, I can't believe I did this for so long, just like playing these basically unplayable decks in these formats where like I could have just been like playing good decks. Like Grixis Delver and Tron. And like this league especially was a great example of like, I talked about how, you know, Food Chain's not particularly good. You just get to run that deck over with Grixis Delver, and you get to, like, run over decks like Big Red with Grixis Delver. Like, Sneak and Show, we played that in the first batch, right? Like, that deck gets slaughtered by Grixis Delver. Is it weird? I feel validated, right? Alright, I get it. I kept one land on the play. It's turn 4 now, so we did 3 draws without another land. Alright. God bless us. Basic Swamp, Gaddock Teeg. What expert deck building? What expert deck building has led us to this point in our life? Yeah, can I get some Fate Weave up in here? Ah, yeah, play the Worm Coil. Oh no, this just sixes me, right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Give me the Fiery Confluence, baby. GG's opponent. GG's. What a great way. What a great way to kick off a Wednesday. Just like set 12